A very good morning to you. How are you doing? It's Thursday, and every Thursday we have the Relationship Clinic. My name is James Okumu. Welcome on board. Kama kawaida, bench nimeweka hapo nje, nimeisanitize, mkae mmoja mmoja, msisukumane, because we have an interesting discussion today. Today we focus on the singles, and not just the singles. Well, okay, primarily on the singles, but it can go across the board, because today we want to talk about how do you deal with a breakup? You know, boy meets girl, you fall in love, happily ever after Cinderella story. It doesn't happen that way in the real world, my friend. In the real world, sometimes you meet somebody and you think they are the one. You get disappointed. The relationship doesn't work out. You move on. Sometimes you meet somebody, you give yourself to them wholly. You're thinking, man, this is the person. No, we're looking forward to marriage, and then unasikia kuna wedding. Nani yake na sio wewe, and they never even tell you. Or sometimes somebody just dumps you. Somebody relocates and they forget about you completely. How do you deal with all that? So we want to talk about dealing with breakups in relationships on the Relationship Clinic today. So let's get this show on the road. And by the way, as always, inviting your questions and your comments via SMS on 20316, WhatsApp 0786 316 316. Zoom in studio today, we have a family and marriage therapist, Joanne Kirera. Joanne, how are you doing?
Very well. And how are you?
I'm very fine. Thank you so much for taking the time to hook up with us today. We appreciate your company, and we are looking forward to hearing from you. So maybe I can kick off this conversation even as we talk about dealing with breakups. I'm just wondering, for the singles who are in a relationship and dating, at what point does somebody call for a breakup? Is there ever a right time, and how does one do that?
I wish I would say there's a right time for breakup. Actually, there isn't. First of all, and there is no, would I say there are no right reasons to break up? And this doesn't even mean that the person is not supposed to be heartbroken.
Yeah.
But it means to the person who is going through a heartbreak, there's nothing that makes sense at that point in time.
Okay.
So it's simply a difficult process. Either way we look at it, very, very difficult.
Yeah, because sometimes I look at relationships, even being a pastor, you know, trying to help people and to work with people, and you wonder, why didn't you break this off earlier? Because it's almost like the signs were there. You know, we always tell young people that when they get into a relationship, it's that space to discover one another and to see whether this thing can blossom into marriage. And so that's why I'm asking, at what point do you decide this is not the thing for me? Because sometimes you wait and think marriage will change the other person, and then once you get into marriage, this is a whole new arena, you know, especially now if you're in church circles, divorce is out of the question, you know, you're told also so many manner of things. So at what point would you tell somebody, maybe you should have cut it off at this time?
Now, when it doesn't work, we can say anything, Pastor. We can say actually everything. Like you saw the signs. What was happening that you didn't break up at this point? For someone who is neutral outside, it's easier to see the time that needed to happen.
Yeah.
But for someone who is in a relationship because they have invested, it becomes very difficult. Do they see yes? Is it okay to break it up? Yes. But what makes it difficult? It's the pain. It comes with so much pain, so much loss. So while I do agree with you that most of the time I see the same, not just you, I see the same, even sometimes when it's glaring evidence that it needs to be called off.
Yeah.
But then it's a difficult process, and it's very painful, and it's a huge loss. So this is part of the reason why people stay.
I'm just wondering, should people who are engaging in a relationship that's they're looking forward to marriage, should I have non-negotiables? Those things that if I see them in this person, that one we are not debating, this one will not work for me because this and this and this are non-negotiable for me.
Yes. Every person who has deep-seated core values, which we all do, needs to have the minimums, the irreducible minimums.
Yes.
These ones cannot be negotiated. If it gets to this point, then it's not working. I totally agree with you 300% that there needs to be irreducible minimums.
Yes.
Yes, they need to be very, and not just there, but they also need to be communicated to the party that you're dealing with. Unless it is communicated, then the other person is completely unclear of what you're looking out for, what your expectations are, what your irreducible minimums are.
I love that because it reminds me a couple of weeks ago we were talking about unmet expectations. Sometimes you have expectations that you have not expressed and you end up being frustrated, yet the other person has no idea. But now when it comes to the actual breakup, how should a person do it? You know, I once saw a post. Somebody had written something about breaking up, and he said, if you are to break up with me, please don't do it via SMS. Let's talk face to face. So if I feel that this thing is not working, is there an amicable way for me to break it up?
There's a more respectable way, which is a physical meeting. But then again, when the other party suspects that you are up to no good, that physical meeting becomes very full of tension. So there are very many dynamics to it. However, whichever way we look at it, a physical meeting is more respectable, and someone has room to ask questions if they need to, and someone has room to explain their reasons if they are asked to. So it's more better, and it's more actually respectable. It's a courteous way of dealing with someone you loved before. Yeah, it is actually more courteous, more respectable.
You know, because sometimes I find people
physical meeting.
Sometimes I find people who broke up, but somehow there's no bitterness between the two of them. You know, they're still friends, not close friends, but then there's the school of thought that there's no way we can break up and still end up as friends. Most breakups end up in bitterness and anger and even unforgiveness. And sometimes I keep wondering why the disparity? Why are there others who are able to break up amicably, still remain friends even though not close friends, and others hata wataki kuonana, inaisha hivyo?
The choice to become friends or remain friends or just never be friends is purely up to the two individuals involved. But my concern is whether you're friends or not, have you healed? Because you said it's painful because it comes with wounds. It's a heavy loss. It comes with a lot of self-doubt. You keep asking, what happened? Is it something wrong you did? Is it the other person didn't find you attractive enough? Is there faults they discovered? There are so many questions around it, and all of them are very hurting. And whether these people choose to remain friends or not, for me, is the basis is, are they healed? Because most of the people will not have any bitterness towards each other. They allow themselves to heal. They acknowledge that this comes with pain, and we can heal through this. I mean, we can go through this pain and heal. Not so much so for the other person, because healing is for you. If I heal today, the people who broke up with me previously, my personal experience, there are people I meet and it doesn't hurt anymore. It's just what it is. It was a breakup, but then it hurt. It hurt like hell.
That's very interesting because when I had a breakup, when I had a breakup, of course there were all those emotions around it, but it was a very amicable breakup because both of us sat down and we told each other, let's stop fooling each other. You know, this relationship is not headed anywhere. We are still trying to figure out who we are as individuals. And so we remained friends. And in fact, we are still friends till today. And I wonder, is that possible in this generation?
Yes, it is possible. But the fact that you remain friends doesn't mean you didn't hurt.
Definitely.
So, hurting is okay and it's normal. We need to say that because people keep thinking, oh, what's wrong? I'm not able to move on. I can't seem to get over it. It's okay not to be able to do that in the first days because you have to go through the processes, a journey. But once you heal, then the other person doesn't become an enemy. It's just that you couldn't fit back then. So the truth is, for you, you are mature enough to allow yourself to go through your own personal processes and see each other as friends, as opposed to seeing each other as the person who hurt me because it was intentional.
Okay.
And it is even better, it's more amicable when people have made decisions that it can't work between us.
Mm-hmm.
One time we agreed with some person that it can't work between us.
Yeah.
But it still was a breakup. This person is a friend because
yeah.
what was the issue? We were able to get through it.
Yes.
But there are others who broke my heart so bad.
Oh my goodness.
That I healed, I forgave them, but what can we even talk about? If I meet them on the road, we say hi, but that's just it. Like really. It depends.
I'm wondering, Joanne, is it harder for those people who have crossed boundaries and the relationship had gotten to a place where they were engaged sexually and they had given themselves to each other in that manner, and then you get to a point where now you have to break up? Is it harder for those kind of people than for those people who had kept their purity? They were looking forward to marriage. I don't know what you think.
It is harder, but remember, different people, different values. For
yes.
Christians who have had sex, it is harder because for them, it's a connection. And I am sure largely they are usually, for true Christians, that is, they love giving themselves because there's some level of love and all that. Not that it's right. I'm not talking about right or wrong here. I'm just talking the context of sex.
Okay.
So that becomes more difficult because for a Christian to give themselves to someone else is because they have believed in them. It's a way of bonding apart from all the other spiritual perspectives, because you're better placed being a pastor to talk about the spiritual perspective.
Yeah.
But yes, from a psychological point of view, they are more bonded. They have given each other, themselves to each other. So that one is a heavy investment. It's more emotional, it's sexual, it's physical, it's always. This one, breakup will hurt even worse than hell. That must be way worse.
Yes.
So the higher the investment, and especially if it comes to sex,
yes,
the heavier the heartbreak.
Ooh.
The higher the investment, even these ones who go out of their way to go cook for him, wash for him, and him pay the school fees for her, and I don't know what else they do. They take care of her family way before marriage. That investment also feels hard. A breakup is going to be difficult, even when it's very clear that this relationship is not going anywhere.
Ooh, okay.
So the more the investment sexually or elsewhere, the heavier the heartbreak.
Wow. That's a good insight right there. Remember, this morning, we are talking about dealing with breakups, mainly focusing on the singles. If you have a thought or question you want to share with us, 20316 is the SMS line. WhatsApp number is 0786316316. Today we're talking about dealing with breakups, and I have a family therapist, marriage therapist, Joanne Kirera, with us via Zoom, helping us gain some insights into this. Joanne, I'm just wondering, do men and women deal with breakups differently? And if they do, how do they deal with them differently?
I believe just that, just like men and women are different in all other areas, and especially when it comes to expressing of emotions, then they deal with breakups still differently. The higher level of men are likely to do rebound, like get into another setup to deal with this one.
Yes.
Because ideally in the African culture, this is where I am, so I'll speak for us. Our men were not conditioned from the get-go. They were not cultured into being expressive of emotions. That is why when they cry, they are told, be hard, men don't cry.
Be a man.
Stop crying like girls. So the women were allowed to express, but men have been told kangumu. So during breakups, they hurt. They hurt because they're human beings, because they have the emotional faculty, because they think, and because they experience the loss. But how they express hardly happens, because also, if a man keeps on talking about it, you see some ladies rant on social media, today, tomorrow, 2 weeks, a month. We are very aware that they got heartbroken. They will even give the story, story bit by bit until it's complete. But then, and we can see they are getting better, and then we can tell when they are, more stable and they stop. But men, what do? A man is not even allowed to hear it out there and say they got heartbroken. And when they do, we tell them the same thing. Kangumu, move on, you're a man.
Yeah.
So yes, men don't seem to be expressive, something that ends up affecting them much, much more. Women are more expressive, and expression is not equal to healing because those are two different setups.
Yeah.
But still, the venting helps them to feel a little better. And the fact that we make it, we normalize. The woman world normalizes, it's heartbreak. It's painful. We talk about it. We allow them to talk about it. So yes, the women seem to be doing better at it than the men. The healing is different.
Okay.
But the initial stages of being expressive for women works better. For men, most of them will get anxious and get depressed or find someone else to cope with.
Okay.
Which is now what we are calling rebound, because you will seem to love someone else, not because you actually love them, but because you're coping with the pain that the other one caused.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Question here. Somebody is asking, how do you deal with a breakup where you have no idea what happened? The gentleman just walked out of the relationship, and soon you hear he's with another girl, and he never talks to you. He never tells you what happened. How do you deal with that?
Oh, that must be more painful because you're looking for reasons.
Yeah.
And most of the time you keep asking yourself, am I the problem? So for this kind of a person, and these ones happen a little more, for this kind of people, I would say to them that you have to make peace with the fact that in a healthy setup or in a normal setup, when you're wrong, someone tells you that you are wrong.
Yeah.
So determine not to do self-blame. Like, I am the problem, I should have been the issue. If, if I didn't do this, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Determine that you're not the problem, because if you were the problem, you needed to be told as much. So what bogs these people down more is the fact that they don't find closure. The issues are not shared.
Okay.
And I have been there myself, so I can only identify with these people very, very well. So the first step is do not blame yourself. Make peace with the fact that if you were the problem, you needed to have been told, because in any case, we all make mistakes from time to time.
Yeah.
So if I make a mistake and someone doesn't point it, I may not know. So make peace with that, number one. Number two, as you journey along, find closure. You will get to a point where you will need to quit looking for these reasons and wanting to understand.
Yeah.
Because if you live for wanting to understand, then you never understand all your life. It means you will never heal.
Okay.
It's the point where you get and you make peace and say, I do not know the reasons, but the best thing I can do is work on myself daily based on what I know or someone allows me to know. For what I don't know, I'll make peace, and I will need to let the package go as it is. I don't know the reasons it hurts so bad, but then again, it's okay for me to allow myself to heal.
Okay.
It's more or less the same way a friend will die and they have said, I needed to tell you something, and then they never told you. You can live all your life speculating what they would have wanted to tell you, but you can also decide to let it go and deal with whatever it is that you never got to know.
Okay.
So it helps to make that decision to move on, minus knowing the reasons. Like, find your own closure in your mental space and allow yourself to move on. Okay.
Yeah. We live in a different world today, because today we live in a world that's driven by social media, and a lot of us, we post pictures, I'm in a relationship with this, tumeenda Naivasha, tumefanya nini, and so sometimes when the breakup also happens and people get to know, now everybody is asking you what happened. Everybody is asking you when you are dumped. So there's all this pressure coming. How do you deal with that? How do you block out those voices so that you can begin to find healing? Because nowadays, because of social media, everybody's in everybody's business.
Individuals have to determine what they want to share out there. And I know I'm trending on very dangerous grounds, because for extroverts, the world has to know that I am happy, and it's okay. But as much as they know you're happy, Pasi, let them know you're happy, good enough. But as much as they know you're happy, then if something doesn't work right, they will again be on the no.
Yeah.
So as you get your stuff out there to the public, way earlier, prepare and ask yourself, if this thing doesn't work, how am I going to deal with it? Because there's no assurance that any relationship will come to an end. I mean, it will not come to an end.
Yeah.
We have no such assurance.
Yeah,
we are human beings. We are mortal beings. We don't know everything. So, and then it didn't work. And Sunday, everyone now knows.
Yeah.
It didn't work. You may make peace with saying it didn't work.
Yeah.
Or simply make peace with the fact that you don't want to answer questions. It's either path you choose. Knowing that if you begin to answer questions, you might provoke more questions, and it's a never-ending, journey. But then again, you can also decide to share your story openly if you're comfortable.
Yes.
And work on that. Or you can decide, I'm not answering these questions. I'll make peace with the fact that the world has known I'm not dating, and it's okay. So either way, you have to determine which path to take. Tell them, or decide I'm not telling it. I'm dealing with it from a personal point of view.
Okay. How do you deal with a situation where the person who is breaking up wants to leave you with a load of guilt? It's because of you that this relationship did not work. So they put everything on you and then they walk away. So they leave you holding this bag of guilt, and it can affect your self-image and how you perceive yourself, because they're basically telling you, you are the fault, you are the reason this relationship did not work. How do you get out of that baggage?
First is to identify that a relationship is made of two people, not one person. So the two contribute equally to where it gets, whether it works or it doesn't work. And also to understand that we attract what we are. So if I am fully the problem, how come you, being the angel, was dating a devil?
Yes.
So, yeah, really, yes, because it's a question of understanding that it's a lie, identify this as a lie, and determine not to buy into the lie.
Okay.
We were together because we had some similarities, in as much as we do have differences.
Yeah.
So it can't be one party fully that failed. It must be two. If the two are taking responsibility of what happened to it, then there's growth thereafter. But if one person blames the other one, I know in pain we are not able to say this, but when you heal a person who blamed you fully for a relationship that didn't work, then that is something you say, thank you, Lord, that I got delivered from this one, because eventually they would have done the same blame in marriage.
Very true.
However, at the point of pain, you have no capacity to say such a thing because you don't see it that way. But determine, if someone blames you fully, determine to tell yourself that that is not true.
Okay. I've seen couples.
One time I dated someone, and when...
Yeah, keep going.
I'm saying I dated someone, and when things didn't work, they said, you're very difficult to please, you're too fast, you're critical. Well, my personality in some sense has a bit of that truth.
Yeah.
There's a bit of that. But also he wasn't taking into account what his part was. So I told myself, it's not true.
Yeah.
I also can spell the part that I thought you were wrong. So makes the two of us. So I said I own up to mine, I take responsibility for it. But you know what? You also have your own part.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's the way it needs to go.
I've seen people who are in a dating relationship and they keep breaking up, making up, breaking up, making up. Is that healthy?
Very unhealthy. Very, very unhealthy. Because the question would be, what are you looking out for in a partner?
Yeah.
When that is clear, and I'm not talking about tall, dark, handsome, and all that kind of thing.
Yes.
Or, curvaceous, and, I'm not talking about the external factors.
Yeah.
If they really matter to you, it's still okay to go for them. But I'm talking about the values that you're looking out for, the character formation.
Yeah.
if I am looking out for someone that is honesty, I mean, the someone who is honest, and over time they show me again and again they cannot be honest, so I break up. So I am going back to what? For me, it seems like they lack clarity of what they are looking out for.
Yes.
Or these individuals are filling in their gaps. An example is, if I have been so rejected at home and I don't feel loved, and this person seems to love me, to understand me, I get lost in them, they will hurt me, then I will go back to them because of my deficiency of,
Yes.
oh my God, they're the only ones who understand me, they're the only ones who seem to, love me for who I am with my weaknesses. So you are filling in a need with them. Your incompleteness is what they are completing. You're not looking out for the character or values. You're looking out for completeness. That one is trouble waiting, even in a marriage.
Oh my goodness. Somebody is asking, could there be something wrong with them because yetu ndio anawachwa? Been in several relationships, and in every relationship, ni mi tu nawachwa. I'm always the one who's being dumped and being dumped and being dumped. Is there anything wrong with me?
Saying there's something wrong with someone would be a huge judgment.
Yeah.
I would say, if I am left once and again, every breakup needs to bring you some level of growth. Because if you introspect well enough, you ask, would it be true what they said? Truth be told, in my breakups, if I introspect well enough, think through, take the journey within, I realized that there was a bit of truth in what they said. Not entirely, but there was a bit of truth.
Yes.
So instead of me defending myself, it's okay for me to use those areas for my growth and say, okay, now that this one pointed this one, and for a fact there's something about it, can I grow from it? That would offer you a lot of growth as a person, as opposed to one pointing the same thing, then another pointing the same thing. If many people point to the same thing, then it is there's a high likelihood that what they're pointing out actually does exist.
Okay. Now,
yes, is there something wrong with them? No, but probably there are areas that need growth.
Okay. That's good. We're talking about dealing with breakups. Shortly, we'll talk about the whole healing process because Joanne has mentioned quite a bit about, are you healed? And also, at what point do you begin to move on to another relationship? Questions, thoughts, 20316, WhatsApp 0786 316 316. Joanne, a question coming through. There's a gentleman who's saying, he's in a relationship and he's realizing that this relationship is not going anywhere, and he's wondering how to break it because he doesn't want to break this girl's heart. And so he's thinking, what do I do? Is there a way I can break up without breaking her heart?
That is something that never happens. Breaking someone will break a heart. And that's the only way, is to realize that your intention. I always say, look at the motivation.
Okay.
If your motivation is to hurt her, then that's different. Then if your motivation is to work for what works for both of you, and because sometimes we can tell very well that we are not heading anywhere, and should we force it to the end, then we are going to be hurting each other very badly. So it's not for your both goods. So if I am, my motivation for breaking up is because I know this is not going to help us both. This is not going to end well. Or even if it's going to benefit her from her view, then it's not working for me. Then that's okay motivation. Go ahead, take time, pray, see her, and talk about it, and let her know exactly how you feel, and express your feeling that your intention is not to hurt her, even if you know she's going to get hurt. There's no way to break without hurting someone. It's what it is.
Okay. There's this issue that sometimes brings in a lot of hatred and anger. You find that somebody is dating girl B, and girl B and girl A are friends. Yeah? So I'm dating girl B, and she has her friend girl A, and I break up with girl B. And then a couple of months later, I'm hanging out with girl A. What do you think about that scenario? Where I break up with this girl and then I end up going out with her friend, and she feels like she has been betrayed by two people, me and her friend. But sometimes people say, we didn't plan it. We just discovered we like one another. What do you expect us to do? We broke up. I mean, life moves on, but people don't take it kindly. What are your thoughts about that scenario?
Been through that as well.
Oh.
It's the worst kind of betrayal.
You need to write a book.
Yes. These things happen to humanity. First of all, is to really feel your pain. That's the first step. Feel your pain, because it is so painful. The betrayal is so loud.
Yes.
Nothing makes sense. For a moment, you will doubt that anyone who is close to you, because a girlfriend betrayed you and a boyfriend, both genders now become problematic.
Yeah.
So feel your pain. Allow yourself to experience that pain. There's no other way. Experience it until you know your pain. That's the first step to healing.
Okay.
Then the second thing, recognize that even if they were both your friends, you are not in control of the actions that people take. It's a very difficult one, because I kept saying, I understand that men can betray. I mean, men, women, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
I'm not a confident girl, or at least that's the way I thought. I know people tend to think like that largely.
Yeah.
Others will feel that I expected my girlfriend can betray me, but not with you.
Yes.
Either way, the feelings are valid. It's what they are experiencing at that point. So make peace with the fact that you are not people, and therefore they don't have to behave your way. They can behave in any way that they choose. But for these close friends also, because it is also boy A and boy B, it's just not the girl.
Yeah.
For these friends also, I would ask, what happened to the relationship and written ethics? Honestly, what happened to them? Because if this person is your friend and you knew what was going on,
Yeah.
I mean, is it the only woman or the only man in the world? I still think that way.
Yeah.
So it causes a lot of betrayal and pain, imagining is the person you really trusted. But then again, if you're the one that is betrayed, allow yourself to see people are different and that you can't change them. So begin to heal from the place of, even if this one betrayed you, not everyone in the world betrays.
Yeah.
They are true friends.
Okay. Talk to us a bit about the healing process, because sometimes we want to rebound. Oh, you are saying I'm not nice. Let me show you. I'll go and look for another one. Kwanza sasa ndio nitabandika mapicha social media ndio ujue what you're missing. So this healing process, are there steps to this healing process?
Yes, there are steps that I would recommend. They are not the only steps, but they are part of some of what would work very well for many people. The number one thing is acknowledge that you're in pain. Talk about it. If you're a talking person, if you're not a talking person, write about it.
Okay.
Write. It's the same way of ventilating.
Yeah.
You see, write as much as you can. Write what they said to you. Ask them questions, even if they will not answer. It's a way of letting out your pain. So if you can talk about it, fair enough. If you can write about it, still better. When it comes to talking, please talk to people who are not going to accelerate your pain. Because at the point of pain, our judgment is very impaired.
Yeah.
We see things through the eyes of pain. People will tell you, find someone else, show them. Now, that is not helping you. So find someone that is sober enough to help you heal, and not necessarily to revenge. Because most people at the point of pain are very vengeful.
Yeah.
So find a pastor. If a pastor will walk with you, if you trust them well enough to walk with you, find a friend, find a therapist, anyone that can listen to you and help you and give you support. That would help. After you have talked about it, talking gives you clarity, writing gives you clarity, and it helps you to let out pain. After you have done that, then sit and ask, how was this relationship? Because when you find clarity, now you can be able to see it as it was.
Yeah.
If we moved on with it, would it have benefited me? Now that I am married, I can sincerely say all the breakups were for my good. Because I got to the point of clarity.
Yeah.
And so you are able to see the flaws that existed and therefore feel a level of gratitude that you did not push on with it.
Wow.
Okay?
Yes.
But should you not find any strength, any flaws that relationship had, and you still feel you needed it more, it's time to realize that you can't hold on to everything that is not working. So again, another reason to move on. Remember, the clarity only comes after we have been able to let the pain out.
Yes.
So after that, then begin to redefine you so that you ask, now that I've been here, what was my part in it? Is there something that I did that makes me or shows me who I am? And that from this relationship, I can become better by doing something differently, or by changing this perspective about me, or by changing this thing about me, or this value about me, or this habit about me. So that becomes a redefining part where you begin to see what you can change and how you can become better.
Okay.
Number 4, determine what not to attract moving on, or what not to pick.
Wow. Okay. So at what point do I know that I am healed and that I am ready to explore another relationship?
That's very important. Very, very important. Number 1, when you are not dating a person of the opposite gender to make you feel better. When you go out and do coffee and you feel like, oh, thank you, Lord, and now I begin to forget John.
Yes.
But when you begin to do coffee and you begin to experience these people very differently, without expecting them to fill the void that John left, now you are beginning to heal, or you're healed at that point. The second part is when you are not beginning to date, or when you think about dating, or when you think about marriage, you're not expecting the person will leave. You know, almost getting in guarded, thinking, oh, so are you going to leave as well? When you see that playing or popping out a lot, then again, it's an indicator that you have not healed.
Okay.
But when you begin to look at them as separate beings, and if they have to walk away, not because the other walked away, but because probably that would be the right thing, then you're at a good point of healing. The third way of telling that you have not healed is when you generalize. Men will always leave. Women will always use you. When you see men and women as one basket, all of them, then that is an indicator that you still haven't healed. You're still looking at people through the pain of the person that hurt you. But when you begin to see men as good people and judge one person individually, then you're at a good point of healing. Then the fourth one, when you have no fear of marriage. It's a question of when, and not a question of, oh, what if they leave? What if marriage is a scam after all? And people have sworn that they will not get married because they have not healed from a previous relationship. When you begin to see marriage as a good thing, marriage as something that works, then it's clear that you have healed.
Okay. Joanna, I have one more final question for you because our time is almost up. It's a question 2 in 1. I hear of cases where somebody was not able to deal with a breakup. They ended up committing suicide. What happens for somebody to get to that level? And then on the flip side, there are those people, if you ever bring up the whole issue of breaking up, they threaten you with suicide. You know, so how do you deal with that, and why is it that others are not able to deal with the pain and they end up taking their own lives?
If a person is threatening you with suicide when you tell them, or when you threaten to leave, that already is a red flag. It tells you that this person is very unstable mentally. And that person needs help. So for me, I would be focusing on, you're a person who needs help, because surely, even if a marriage was to, end a divorce, it doesn't warrant anyone losing their life. So that is an indicator that this person is not only, not a fit partner as you see them, but they are also mentally unwell. That is a red flag. I mean, that is something to really watch out for. And when that happens, then you need to, address it address it, either say you need to seek help and be helped, or now you can be stable, because it means you're not complete without me.
Oh my goodness.
And that is already a danger sign.
Okay.
So address that. Please don't say, I don't want to leave them, because if I leave them, they'll commit suicide. You are becoming an enabler. You are encouraging the instability. Ooh. And that is not something that you can be able to continually do in a marriage setup.
Okay.
That's so much a heavy burden.
That is
but the person who also gets a heartbreak happens and they internalize. See, we are saying heal.
Yeah.
If you take it all in, accumulate all in, it's very easy, together with the pressures of life, to have depression. And especially when your self-esteem is already very low.
Yes.
So if you find that you have internalized the pain and you only need something very little to poke, then please seek, this one I'll say, seek professional help. Before if you're feeling suicidal because someone left, and most people are in that space actually, I'm glad we are talking about it, then it needs to be a pointer to you are not doing well and that you need help, professional help, because you could be dealing with an illness.
Wow.
But then again, there's help out there.
Yes.
There's no reason for anyone to lose their life, because you might live and experience a better spouse like I did, one that was worth waiting for anyway.
Yes. Wow. Thank you for your time this morning. Unfortunately, our time has run out, but I believe somebody has found some answers and some directions regarding how to deal with a breakup. We must do this again soon.
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, soon it is.
Okay. Well, I'm out of time for today's discussion, but I hope that you were able to pick something that will help you if you're in the kind of situation that we were describing today. We'll hook up again next week on another relationship clinic.
For this and more of our shows, log on to www.familymediaonline.com to enjoy a wide variety of programs, from current affairs to testimonials and features, pastoral and inspirational shows, kids entertainment, and so much more. Also stream live on www.familymedia.tv.